It's Cassidy and me again on our tour of small Jersey comic conventions. We're at the Jersey Shore Comic Book and Toy Expo in Toms River, New Jersey. Last week we bought 2 big books. This week Cassidy promises to buy me Fantastic Four #1 if they have. So let's see what we find inside. Enjoy. We're at another Elks Lodge. I guess we like coming to Elks Lodge. It doesn't look like an entrance though. We don't know where to go in. We're going to walk around the whole building, apparently, today. Let's see if we can find what we're doing. Cassidy has us lost.
Me?
It's another father-daughter video. This time we traveled all the way down to South Jersey for the Jersey Shore Comic Book and Toy Show. We didn't see the cast of Jersey Shore down there. This convention is a little bit different than other ones we've been to recently. Usually small conventions don't have artists. This one did. Stay tuned to the end. We bought another big key. And we have some giveaways for you at the end. We picked up some comic books just for you. All loyal watchers, viewers, subscribers, whatever you want to call yourself. So this one, like last week when we went to New Egypt, is at an Elks Lodge.
And it also has some of the same vendors that were there last weekend, because these small ones in New Jersey typically get a lot of the same people.
The difference between this one and the last one was this one actually had some artists, and it was a much bigger space than we were in last week. Big table spreads for a lot of the vendors there,
which was really nice. Sometimes it's really cramped in there, but there was also ample space to walk around and have quite a bit of people there. And
there was a lot more variety at this one. So the last one I went to basically had comic books and toys. This one had tables filled with trading cards from all years, like old trading cards, packs, loose. It was pretty cool to see old trading cards. I know I didn't buy any, but maybe somebody else did. I probably would have spent more time looking at them if I wasn't focused on comic books. They also had movie posters there, which we rarely see because they take up a lot of space. They also had some really great Universal Monster stuff.
And we don't often see Universal Monster stuff other than at the really big conventions.
Yeah. So small conventions, they usually have toys that are newer. So they usually have the DC Multiverse stuff, the Marvel Legends, wrestling figures. This one had a lot of vintage toys, and the vintage monster stuff was really cool. They had some, these really cool figures that are about this big. It was nice to see. Didn't buy any because they were expensive. They also had, on the same monster kick, they had some poster sizes of the old monster magazines, eerie and creepy. Never see those ever anywhere. Cassie's a big monster fan too, so maybe she bought one.
They also had Barbie dolls.
They had a lot. We don't usually see.
Especially at small conventions. I've never really seen a lot of Barbie stuff. So, and they also had Barbie comics.
Yeah.
Which I've never seen that at any other convention.
I don't know if I had it here. Oh, I do have it here. When you walk in, you got a ticket, and the ticket was used for a giveaway, and they had maybe 9 or 10 giveaways they were going to pick at the door. We didn't win any.
But I've never seen that at a convention either.
No. So you paid your $3 to get in, and they gave you a raffle ticket, and you could win something. So to me, that's $3 well spent. I think that the way conventions work, smaller conventions, is they develop over time. So you see who comes into your convention, and you notice that there's a lot more children, and there was a lot of kids there with families. $3 a person is good. Kids came in for free. So you kind of gear towards them. You bring toys that are around the right price, especially now it's almost Christmas time. A lot of Barbies, a lot of kid toys, very kid-friendly, very collector-friendly. I was really happy with it. It was, it's our first time there. I'm glad we went there. There was a lot of stuff that I had never seen before. One thing was they had a figure from the Iron Claw movie. I had no idea that they made one.
From the new movie.
It looked like Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich. I still have to watch the movie. Cassidy keeps putting it off. We haven't watched it yet. What are you going to do? They also had, what I go to conventions for, lots and lots of comic books, including a ton of really good wall books. We saw an Avengers #1. That's right. Our friend AJ, who we shared a booth next to about 1.5 years ago at a convention, had an Avengers #1. Cassidy didn't buy it for me.
Now, how much do you think it was for?
We'll let you know at the end. So take a guess how much you think he had it for. It was about a 3.0. He said he has had it for about a week. He was trying to sell it. It was the talk of the convention. All the other deals were talking about how the one guy had an Avengers #1. So even if he didn't sell it, it definitely helped people get to his booth. So let's look at some of the wall books. One of the other interesting comic books that I never see these at conventions. They had Spidey comics, and Spidey comics are based on Spider-Man's appearance on the Electric Company in the mid to late 70s. And if you don't know what the Electric Company is,
nope, I'm not getting cut out of another one of these episodes just because I happen to not be at the convention that day. For those of you who don't know, The Electric Company was a children's television show that ran from 1971 to 1977. 780 episodes, all of them produced by the Children's Television Workshop, the same people who brought us Sesame Street and are now called the Sesame Workshop. It was a really fun kids show. It devoted itself to learning and kindness and manners, just the same as Sesame Street, but it had a little more of a, funky vibe to it. Spider-Man appeared in a series of sketches from seasons 4 to season 6. And, interestingly enough, the usually motor-mouthed superhero never said a single word on any of his episodes appearing on The Electric Company.
So yeah, The Electric Company was a show from years ago, and Spider-Man was one of the main things on it, and they made comic books for it. They're not easy to find. And these really explain to me how comic conventions are a little strange, because you have a bunch of vendors there, and the vendors price things very differently.
Yes. And I feel like we saw that at this convention even more so than in like recent ones.
So there were dollar bins. We loved the dollar bins, went to the dollar bins, grabbed a couple of really good books from the dollar bins. But then there were some vendors who had some things really priced, like completely overpriced. Like, for example, Battlestar Galactica #1, I recently bought in a dollar bin. Somebody had it there for $30. $1, $30.
And I saw a lot of... So, old Star Wars comics, you don't really find in the dollar bin. Those are sold higher priced. But one vendor had some newer Star Wars comics that some of them I have seen in the dollar bins, and he had them priced like $25, $30, and I'm like, what? I'm not gonna buy that. I can find that in the dollar bin eventually.
Especially because there's 7 other vendors there that have good prices. So to me, when you go to a convention, your object is, and I don't think the tables are expensive at this convention, the object is to sell comic books, to walk away with less than you came with. And if you're a vendor, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe the goal is to make as much money as you can at a show. But this is a small show, so people aren't coming with thousands and thousands of dollars to buy comic books. They're coming to entertain themselves for a Sunday afternoon and, search through some dollar bins. And listen, I bought a stack, right? Most of these are dollar bins. I did buy a huge key. I spent good money on another key that I had been searching for a while, and I finally got it at the price that I was looking for. I've passed on it twice in the past. And if you watched last week's, you saw I bought two huge keys in New Egypt, and I spent a lot more money than I wish I should have.
But still, the really good thing about these small conventions is that you can barter with most of the vendors. I mean, the price that he got the comic for was not what it was priced at.
I got a deal on every bunch of comics I bought. Even if I bought from a dollar bin, I still got a deal. And I bought some other not dollar bin books and a deal at the end. That's what small comic conventions are good for. You'll get deals. Vendors are willing to work with you. Some of them price their stuff perfect, on the nose. Some of them are a little bit more. I avoid the ones that are overpriced. When I start flipping through a bin and I see the pricing on things, I know right away, this guy's not going to have the prices that I need. And I move on to the next deal. That's how I've always been. That's how I will continue to be. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not seeing it the way I should. But overall, Cass, what did you think about the convention?
I thought it had a really good mix of things because I bought more at this convention than I did the last one.
She spent more than $10.
Yes, I did. And so for me, I looked for comics mostly for him, and I look for other things, toys, more artist-made stuff. So that's what I look for, and this had more of that. So I definitely enjoyed it more than some of the recent conventions.
And it's funny because we had a choice. Yes, when we went on Sunday, we were torn between 2 conventions. One convention was about an hour and 10 minutes away, this one, and the other one was about an hour and 30 minutes away. The other one was more comic book heavy. So we decided to go to this one because it fills the need for both of us. We both get what we want from a small convention.
Off.
And it paid off. It definitely paid off. I ended up getting something I really, really have been looking for. What do you think? What is your opinion on small conventions? Do you attend small conventions in your area? If you do, let us know. Maybe we'll travel to see your convention. We love small conventions, and we don't mind traveling a little bit. We're in this area, but you never know where we end up. So overall, thumbs up to
Got collector confession approval.
Jersey Shore comic book and toy show. I like comic book and toy shows. I like the mixture of everything. It brings a different crowd out. I love seeing kids there looking through comic books and buying toys. That's just the teacher in me. So, Cassidy, what did you buy?
Okay, so I did not buy this, but my father bought it for me. So I got one comic from the convention. So Star Wars.
There just aren't a lot of Star Wars comics in dollar bins.
There's not a lot of Star Wars in dollar bins. But so I'll start. This is one of 4. So I'll look out for the other 3 in this storyline. Then I got another Star Wars book.
2 weeks in a row.
Actually, from the same vendor.
Yes, the same vendor who had the books was at this one, then was at the last
from
one?
New Egypt, same vendor.
Same prices. Had more
same
books,
prices.
Or you had more books, though?
No, it was the same amount.
Okay.
Same bin. So I got, this time I did get a book based on the original movies. It says, so after reading the description, it takes place almost right after Darth Vader's funeral. So
I think Cassie's going to try to buy a book at each of the conventions we go to.
I need to keep up with reading the books, and there's so many Star Wars books
and the comics.
that I wasn't 100% sure which ones to get because I wasn't sure, because some of them are trilogies and I didn't want to buy ones that I don't have the other books to, but this one seems like it's
a standalone.
Yeah, it looks like it's a standalone, or since it takes place right after the movies, easily follow along.
Yep.
Then I got an X-Wing fighter toy.
Oh, they come out.
The legs come out so it can land.
And now at this point in the show, Cassie's going to make it levitate like Yoda. Wings come out? Oh yeah, look at that. It's really cool.
So.
Hang that from the ceiling.
I really should. Actually, I will be doing that in my room. It will be...
That's still good for something.
It was a good price, and it's not that I wouldn't have bought this, but at small conventions like these, I tend to get guilty for just walking past vendors.
I have a question for you. Why did you buy that and not Boba Fett Slave 1?
I think I have.
Oh, okay.
I think I have a Slave 1.
Because they had a Slave 1 and it looked nice. And did they have a TIE fighter?
I think it was bigger, but this was cheap, so I didn't have any qualms with buying it.
They had no vintage Star Wars, so nobody there had vintage. They had older stuff, 90s stuff. They didn't have the stuff that I buy, the vintage stuff. As you see, there's some sitting behind right over Cassie's shoulder. There's some vintage stuff in it. I buy vintage. Cassie buys newer stuff for her Star Wars collection.
Yeah, but at small conventions like this, I do get guilty, and I sometimes, if things are cheap, I will buy something that I like from a vendor, but I'll mostly buy it because no one's buying from them.
Cassidy's a sucker for good conversation too. If someone starts talking to her and she feels
bad.
If
you talk to me. I remember our first New York Comic Con, and so it was my first ever convention.
You were little.
I was little. I was in 5th grade, and I had brought my own money with me, and I was dressed as Princess Leia. And actually, we met Carrie Fisher.
We did.
At that convention. But so I was dressed as Princess Leia from A New Hope in her white outfit. And we were in Artist Alley, and I walked past this artist, and he had a giant Princess Leia art print. And I don't remember what he had. I remember that he had it priced a little higher, but then he's like, because I was a child, and I was dressed as Princess Leia, he goes, I'll give you $15 for it. And I bought it, even though I wouldn't
her first guilted into buying something.
Even though I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. And it actually is hanging up in my room on my wall.
It has started a obsession with buying art from artists.
And being guilted.
Yeah.
Not that I'm...
Cassie has tons and tons of art from artists.
Okay, I also, as we mentioned, there were a lot of trading cards.
A lot of trading cards that we never see. Old stuff from the 70s, 80s, 90s.
I did get a Return of the Jedi trading card pack.
Look at that little Ewok.
So they had, I think he had 4 different ones, but I got the one that had the Ewok on it because it just looks really, really cute.
How much was it?
It was 12. So here are the cards.
So she bought some cards. I remember buying these when they first came out because Return of the Jedi was a big one. I was a little bit older. It was a, great movie. So Cassidy bought her first pack of Return of the Jedi cards. So
I have a lot of...
Probably 30 years after I bought them.
I have a lot of Star Wars trading cards, actually. But I have a lot of the newer ones. I have a lot of prequel ones. I don't have a lot of the ones that came out in the...
Well, how often do we see
80s,
these?
70s.
How often do we see these? We never see these.
I'm not sure I've ever really seen
we don't see packs at conventions, really.
Packs at a convention.
And they're made by Topps, if I remember correctly, back in the early 1980s.
And Return of the Jedi is my personal favorite of the original trilogy. I know that might be a controversial take, because Empire Strikes Back is most people's favorite.
That's my favorite.
But I did not watch them when they came out, so I was not shocked when Darth Vader reveals reveals that he's Luke Skywalker's
So
father.
now it's a big part of the show. Cassie's going to eat the gum from a 40-year-old pack of
So it
cards.
says that it comes with gum, and
40.
it indeed
If you're old enough to
came
remember
with
gum
the
in packs, you're old like me.
and it is hard. And I'm tempted to eat it, but I
told her not to.
I would probably get sick.
But if you're from that time, you know you
old.
ate stacks of gum like this at one time when you were a kid, because that's what we did.
So I got the experience of opening a card pack and having a piece of gum that
There
was
you go.
right with
And you got to watch it.
the cards.
Very
And
nice.
then
You need card sleeves for these.
lastly, if you watched our video from New Egypt convention,
If you haven't, you should watch it after this video.
yes, you should. But I mentioned that there was a vendor who had pillows that she made, and she had a Lost Boys pillow, and I was thinking about it. I was thinking about buying it, and then when I went back there, it was gone, and I was a little sad. Same vendor was at this convention, and as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, I'm probably going to buy something from her. And
She didn't even
lo
have
and
to guilt her.
behold, she had the Lost Boys pillow. So I bought the Lost Boys pillow.
I'm betting it sold really fast at New Egypt, and then she was like, bring another one with me. And I bet you next week she'll have another one with
And I
whatever she
actually
is.
said to her, because I didn't, it wasn't out in the front. It was behind other pillows, so I didn't see it at first. And I said, oh, I saw you last weekend, and I passed on buying the Lost Boys pillow, and I was hoping that maybe you would have it. And she was like, oh, I do have it. It's behind other stuff. So
She got her Lost Boys pillow.
And I honestly think that this woman had really good prices. This pillow was $20. And I mean, it's hand sewn pillowcase, comes with the pillow. I personally think that that's a really good price because at bigger conventions, I mean, stuffed animals I've seen go for $30. So
We'll put her link in the description if anybody wants to reach out to her, see where she's going to be next, or maybe she sells online.
we got the Lost Boys pillow.
Yay. Lost Boys. We're huge
Right
fans of the
behind
Lost
us.
Boys. Well, it's not staying here, though. You're taking that with you. Is that all you got?
All I got.
All right, so I bought comic books. Of course, while I go through comic books, Cassie's going to see if she can chew a piece of 40-year-old gum.
I will, if you,
Please don't.
I would be so tempted to try it.
Please don't. Comment, do you think Cassie should eat the gum or not? Because I think she should not, because it's 40 years old.
No, I know I should not eat it. It's so funny to me that the card pack still had the gum in it, and that's crazy.
It's harder than a rock. There you go. All right, so I bought comic books, as I always do. I bought a big key, too, again. Something I've been looking for. I keep passing on it because the price just wasn't where I wanted it to be. This time the guy hit the price on the nose, not what he had, what he offered, because he said, I'll give you a deal. How about this much? And that was it. So
And immediately, he went, done.
done. I probably
No
could have
thought.
negotiated down, but he hit the mark. So I know how much I know how much it's worth. I know how much I wanted to pay for it, and it was perfect. So we'll get to that at the end. Let's look at what else I bought. Aquaman number 45. That's right, a nice Silver Age Aquaman. It's a 15 center. You know how much I love these. In the dollar bin. AJ had a bunch of new comics in his dollar bin, so I bought a bunch of comics from AJ.
And you haven't been buying a lot of Aquaman lately.
I know. Whitman, Brave and the Bold.
I found that one. Thank you very much.
Cassidy searches the dollar bins with me. And even though Brave and the Bold is not on the list, she knows that it's something I collect.
No, you have it on the list as buy any issue.
Hulk and Dove, this was in a $3 bin. I only need one more to complete the Ditko series. This is issue number 5. I still need issue number 4. Love these 12-cent ones, Ditko. Cassidy found some Captain Carrot comics. Captain Carrot number 1.
And the reason why I actually took it out is because it said DC, and I've never seen Captain Carrot anywhere.
Captain Carrot.
And then I
number 1.
asked, oh, is this something that you want? Do you collect this? And he was like, yes.
Guess how many issues of this comic were made? Because I was shocked to see how many issues of this were made. I thought this was a 4-issue limited series. They made 20 issues of this Captain Carrot series.
How many do you have?
3. Right? This is issue 5. I think I have 1, 2, and 5 now. Then you never see them. You never see Captain Carrot. No, who buys them besides me?
But it was in the dollar bin, so.
Batman 442 in the dollar bin. Key number 1. It's the first appearance of Tim Drake as Robin. That's right. This is the appearance of the second Robin.
So how much is that comic worth about, would you say?
I saw it ranging on eBay anywhere from $10 to $100.
That is a price range.
And it was $1. And it's in really good condition. So, that's a good one. Found some more Milestone hardware number 2. We're going to add these to the permanent list. Cassie's going to start looking for them. Hardware number 5.
I've never heard of this comic in my life.
Hardware number 6. It's from a Milestone line. So what they did at DC Comics is, at one point in the early 1990s, if I remember correctly, yes, 1993, there was not enough representation of inner city superheroes. So they created a Milestone line, and they created a bunch of superheroes. Do you know who the most famous of them is?
I have no idea.
You watched his show for many, many years. Static Shock was the big one to come out of this.
We did watch that animated show growing up.
All the time. Hardware number 10. So I bought, 3 Phil Hardware comics? 4. So almost wrapping up that series. Also picked up Icon number 15. Icon teams up with Superboy. I was a big fan of these when they came out. This is my DC pile.
There's a lot more DC this week.
We found DC in the dollar bin. Bought a couple independents. E-Man number 1. Joe Stanton happens to be one of my favorite artists. Met him a couple times. He's one of the nicest guys in comic books. And also the original E-Man number 1. So 2 E-Man series number 1. So I got 2 number 1s. That published by First Comics. If you've noticed, we've been picking up a lot more First Comics lately. Here's my Marvel stuff. AJ also had $3 bins, so I grabbed a couple there. Captain America 201 from the $3 bin. I like $1, $2, $3, $5 bins. Human Torch number 4. Only need one more issue of this to complete it. Master of Kung Fu 74 from the dollar bin. Have never bought a Master of Kung Fu before. Guess what's going to happen now?
What made you start?
I don't know. It's just...
Because you don't have enough comic lines that he collects?
That's exactly why. It's always been something I liked, but never really picked up. And I always see it in the dollar bin, so I figured, you know what? It's time to start collecting it.
Now, you might tell yourself, it's only $1. But how much do all these add up to?
And this series runs for like 75 issues, so I'm going to have to spend at least $75 on them.
But if you're a comic collector, I'm sure you tell yourself.
War Machine number 2. Last week I bought number 1, so I said, oh, what's the chances? Here's number 2, and number 3, and number 4. So there you go. That's how you get hooked on a series. You buy the first issue, and then you can't stop. Case in point, New Mutants, 61. Cassidy helps me a lot with the New Mutants. I think she likes finding them.
Well, there's 74. Usually a lot of X-Men, a lot of New Mutants.
80. So 3 more to the series. I think we only need maybe about 10 or 15 more to finish the whole series. This one's key number 2. X-Men number 251. It's an iconic cover from Mark Silvestri. Cassidy, why is this important now?
Because they used this in Deadpool vs. Wolverine.
They used this exact image in Deadpool and Wolverine. When Deadpool is traveling, he sees Wolverine like this, taken directly from this Mark Silvestri cover. Very nicely done.
And actually, the vendor said how, because this was in the dollar bin, and he said the only reason that it is in the dollar bin is it's very beat up, and it might be a little harder to see, but it's actually a little frayed.
Not as bad as
it's not as bad. I mean, for $1, it's not bad at all. But he said he put it in the dollar bin because it was beat up.
And he knew I would buy it. Drum roll, please. Here's the big book I bought this week. Last week at New Egypt, I bought Fantastic Four 8 and 9. This week, I bought a book that has been on the top of my Fantastic Four list for a while. Passed on it at a couple of shows within the last 6 months. Yesterday, it was perfect. Fantastic Four number 45. Key number 3. The first appearance of the Inhumans. That's right. And it was not that price. He gave me an incredible deal on it. Thanks again. This is the one I've been looking for, and it is in really good condition.
It is in really good condition. And for the price,
so there you go. 45. Next up is Galactus and Silver Surfer I'm going to be looking for. That's a big one. I'll keep an eye out for that.
If you love the channel, if you see number 1, buy Fantastic Four #1 and send it his way.
Or if that's too much for you, send us a gift here if you really like it, or become a member and you will get behind the scenes stuff. We'll create stuff just for you. You could be in a conversation with us one-on-one. We could have a video with you. That's how it works. Membership has its privileges. Also bought a couple of other Fantastic Fours. Fantastic Four 111. Fantastic Four 113. This is key number 4. It's the first appearance of the Eternal Overmind. It's one of the Eternals. This is his first appearance. Most of them first appear in Eternals #1. This one happens to appear in Fantastic Four. And finally, our last comic is Fantastic Four 286. This is actually a key also. It's the second appearance of X Factor and the return of Jean Grey as the Phoenix. So there you go. I bought how many? 4 Fantastic Fours.
And one of them was a big one.
3 of them were keys. 1 of them were a huge key. So added more to the collection of Fantastic Four. That's what we bought at the Jersey Shore Comic Book and Toy Expo. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe, like, share this with your other comic book friends. Or if you just like what we do, give us a little click there as a gift. Become a member.
And now we have to reveal how much the Avengers #1 was for.
That's right. Glad you remembered. Oh, actually, before we do that, we have a giveaway. We picked up some books.
So you still have to wait to hear how much the Avengers #1 was.
We have a bunch of books that we just picked up randomly that we're giving away. So if you would like to be entered in here, all you have to do is subscribe. This is a new one. Just figure we throw it in there. Subscribe. Comment on this video, and you will be entered in the drawing, which we will draw in a couple of weeks. And we'll just mail these for you for free.
Get a free comic.
That's a nice key right there. Mike think. Bunch of Captain Americas. We just grabbed a couple of books.
They're only $1.
They're only $1. We thought you'd like them. Oh, that's a big one. There you go. Whole bunch of stuff in here. These could be yours. All you gotta do is be a subscriber, comment, and these could be yours. And now Cassidy will reveal how much the Fantastic Four. No, you didn't buy me Fantastic Four. How much Avengers #1 was actually being sold for?
So it was priced at $1,200.
$1,200.
Not sure anyone at that convention was going to buy that, but
I bet you that next time we see him, he probably doesn't have it.
Now,
word will spread. That's what happens.
And the reason why, so he had it, it had a huge tear on the cover, about in the center of the cover. It is taped, but it looks very damaged.
But for $1,200, it's good for $1,200. So, if you're interested, reach out to AJ. He watches these videos too. AJ, just leave your information here, and someone might buy it from you. So, hopefully, we help you sell it. Thanks for watching. Love what you collect.
Collect what you love.
We'll see you next week at another small, probably, convention.